So we set up and actually built, and this was a top secret kind of, like we built the city of Stockholm in Minecraft.
Hi everyone, I'm your host Nikki Greenberg. If you've ever noticed your kids spending hours playing video games and wondered how to engage them in a more meaningful conversation about what's going on in the world, you're going to love today's episode. Our guest, König Jerlmyr, was the former mayor of Stockholm, and she did just that in an extraordinary way. One day she realized that Mojang Studios, the creators of Minecraft, her kids' favorite game, was right near her office in Stockholm. Instead of just admiring them from afar, she took bold action. She formed a groundbreaking partnership with the mayor's office and Mojang, integrating Minecraft into the school curriculum to get kids involved in shaping the future of their city. Join us on this edition of The Visionaries as we dive into this innovative approach and learn how Anna's bold leadership created a platform for the next generation to have a voice. This is a conversation you won't want to miss. Before diving into this episode, make sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform so that you never miss an update. Anna, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thank you, Nikki. It's great to see you again.
How on earth did you, as someone in a very serious role and in the city of Stockholm, as this leader, being the mayor, looking after budgets, people's, public works, everything, and all of a sudden you go, you know what? Minecraft. Let's look at video games. Let's use this as a mechanism to get young people involved in city affairs. Like, tell us more about this project. Like, why was it different? How did you bring it to life?
I think it's my own experience. Many politicians, both on national level, local level, they use youth boards. So some youngsters represent a large group of individuals, and the politicians or the community ask them about different opinions, and sometimes they're also involved in co-creating solutions for the local community, or actually also for different causes like youth council on climate or on safety and so on. But I was always kind of eager to also engage children and youngsters on a more larger level, to aggregate all these voices, because after a couple of years I was quite tired. I always saw the same kind of engaged young people being the chair of the youth council, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just it's the same type of very engaged, very clever, very, they could speak for themselves, young people, and it's great to use them. But I wanted to also to talk to the young people and the children that perhaps not necessarily spoke up. So I was sitting in the city hall, and this is a true story, and I was looking out on the other side of the water, and actually I thought, wait a minute, this is the office of Mojang Studios that have Minecraft, the game, and my children use it on a daily basis. And I was like, why don't we collaborate with them? I mean, this is a well-known company, and everyone, almost every young person knows this, and are active in it. Why haven't we, the city of Stockholm, actually reached out to them and said, let's co-create, let's engage young people on the platform that they are really on, and where they are, as you were mentioning in the beginning. So I had many ideas as a mayor, and everyone's like, okay, Anna's getting a new idea. So I was like, this will be a little bit difficult to implement. So what I did is actually I took one from the staff with me, and I booked a meeting with the CEO. So we went to the other side of the water for a meeting, and I presented my idea, because I had also arranged a big climate conference later that year, almost a little bit less than a year ahead. So I wanted to have this international conference, and where I gathered cities, and where we should talk about a lot of climate solutions for our city. And then I said, this will be the perfect opportunity also to bring on not only the mayors, but also, and the businesses, but also the young people. So let's try to engage them. Is that possible? And then we had a conversation, and some other people from Mojang Studio and Minecraft were engaged, and they came back with a suggestion like, this is possible. I mean, we collaborate with some cities around the world on integration and urban design, but we haven't done this before. So we set up and actually build, and this was a top secret kind of, like we built the city of Stockholm in Minecraft. And I had to write on the paper like that I allowed me to become an avatar in Minecraft. I thought that was quite cool. My children later didn't find it so cool because they thought their mama was everywhere. So she was not supposed to be in the game. But actually, after a while, when we had a concept that I really believe this will, this could be that the administration and the rest of the city organization actually will think this is a good idea, then I decided to present it to the higher level of the administration and to the non-political kind of governance in the city when it comes to school, when it comes to budget. And then I said, I think this is a great initiative that we should do. And it's possible. We can do this in a limited time frame together with the school. So let's do this. But the first meetings, that was just me and one staff, because I really wanted it to be a good concept before we presented it.
This is amazing. And there's so much to unpack here. And I'm going to summarize in a few ways. It's like, firstly, I'm hearing you saying even when there were youth initiatives, it always seemed to be the same individuals that were opting in, being selected, but that's not necessarily representative of the broader community. So you saw an opportunity to expand the voices that were being heard within this younger demographic. Secondly, there was a recognition that, well, let's go to where young people are spending their time. If they're spending their time on video games, which you notice through your own children, and let's face it, everyone knows that kids are playing Minecraft, go to where they are. And thirdly, also, it sounds like there's this local element that you understood, well, we've got this amazing industry in our own city. Why don't we engage with them? This is something that's hyper-local, even though it's digital and everywhere. So to me, I mean, this sounds like it must have just like hit a few different nodes, even though it's so different.
Yes, and I know I'm speaking of my own experience. I used to be the youth chair of my city where I grow up, so I know exactly what kind of these forums are. And I think if we really, especially when it comes to climate, and we talk a consumption-based emission, how difficult it is to mitigate, then we really need also to create like a sense of urgency. And I think that many young people actually, almost are panicking of the situation where they hear these climate alarms all the time. But if we could also make them come up with solutions and also be more aware that it is hope. There is solutions, and perhaps they have even better solutions. But if we can scale them and then implement it, and perhaps it's the pace that's the problem. The solution and innovation are there, but it's perhaps the implementation that is missing. And if they can feel that they are part of, also not just talking about the problems and highlighting that, but also be a part of, what can we do together as a community or a city? I think we can also bring hope to new generations. And for me, honestly, it's also, it's so much with the new technique and different generations. I know they're really wise. So why don't ask them? And I think that we can also get a lot of great ideas from the young people that not actively, engaged in youth forum and so on.
I love this, to actually consider that let the young be part of the solution. And there is so much passion, especially around notions of sustainability, around notions that they are going to inherit our world. They're going to inherit our city. So actually giving them that opportunity to not just have a say, but be in the driver's seat around shaping what the city is going to look like and a voice around issues that concern them. And can I ask, so can you maybe paint a picture of what this, I don't know if I can call it a game or if I can call it a world or if I can call it an experience, like what did it look like? How were younger people engaging with it? How did they find out about it? Maybe give a sense of like, what did it look like when somebody was in there?
So we actually built up the city hall and the city of Stockholm in Minecraft. So you can walk around and you could also talk to me as an avatar, where I presented, that we're going to have this climate conference. It's really important that we have solutions and we're going to discuss it, but we also want to have input from all of you. So we engaged over 30 plus schools, and then they worked really with their curriculum, with their teachers, because they also have in their curriculums that they should work on climate issues. So we worked together with them and we marketed it, of course, through Minecraft, but also in other kind of media and through official information from the city. And there was a huge interest, of course. So a lot of children really welcomed the possibility to work with their teachers in groups, to come up with ideas. And then we had a competition as well. Like the best ideas should actually come to the conference and present it to the other maths, and also get awarded. So it was 250 different suggestions that was put forward. And after, it was everything from building a tree house that also could mitigate the CO2 in the air. It was bee farms. It was mobility solutions that we should decrease or just forbid private owned cars and instead have trams or public transport. Or they built fantastic buildings in the city that had everything included in it, but a lot of tree house, a lot of bees, and another kind of biodiversity directions. Like they had a lot of suggestions about how we could increase the biodiversity in the city as well, and greener the city and so on. So it's actually great solutions, and they build it. And then I think 3 schools, 3 groups of children came to the city hall at the conference and had the opportunity to present it to the mayors, and also they got awarded. And of course, I mean, I would have, wanted to say that let's implement it. But it's of course also very innovative ideas. So some of them were quite futuristic, but many of them are in line in the climate actions that the city takes. So I think that, that I said to them, we're very inspired. We will take this forward. Perhaps not exactly how it looks, but all the things that you have built, we will take it forward in our future action plans.
That's amazing. And I think what I'm also hearing from you is that you tend to go quite a few levels deep, because you understood that by taking this initiative and ingraining it in the curriculum, then it sounds like then that there's a structure already in place that you can work within that gives you that level of scalability. And also, dare I say, that is also taken seriously. It's not like, oh, it's a cute little idea that maybe some people might sign up to do on the weekend or whatever. It's like, no. You can read about a case study in a textbook, or you can actually live and breathe it with a competition element and actually get your hands dirty. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, exactly. That was very important to me, because as a teacher or as a school or a principal or, non-political director of the school administration, they overwhelmed with different national regulations, all these politicians that want to fix things in school. And they are all there. They have 80 different goals. And that was another challenge that we worked with. They have too much goals, political set goals. We have to degree, to have a few of them and to leave the schools alone. So of course, this initiative could also be, could be faced with, we don't have time. What is this? But as we presented it as a part of their already existing curriculum, and we also asked them, when in time is the best, if you look at a school year, when is the best time for you? When do you not have national tests, for example? And then they also had, okay, this couple of months, that's the best. We don't have anything others that will interfere. And we listened to that. So we didn't, we really worked also with the teachers and the principals. And I think that made them see that we really wanted it to be successful and something in the ordinary kind of education system, not on top of that new demands, new goals. It's just like to implement it and to make, and I think the teachers really saw afterwards the engagement, like this is also education in a new modern way. We don't have to always be against computers, internet, new technique in school. We can actually work with it. And I think that also opened a lot of kind of views, or, you know, a lot of teachers change their mind perhaps when it comes to technique, if you work in the right kind of context.
I love that expression. This is education in a new modern way, and understanding that you're working, you know, with teachers to increase engagement. I think if you choose a metric, it sounds like that's the metric that you're going for. And it's great that you had such success with this project and this new idea. But I can imagine along the way, again, with this being such a novel idea, that there was opposition. How did you overcome very traditional thinking, or people that were saying, but this is not the way that we teach, or this is not the way that we do things, or why are we encouraging kids to be spending more time online? They need to be outside in nature. How do you overcome some of these, you know, these arguments against doing something new and novel?
I think many teachers, many parents, I could say first, is aware of the negative sides of just all this gaming, taking time from, you know, that they're not sleeping enough, they're online all the time. And we are having a huge discussion about that in my country, for example. But then so many parents are in favor of Minecraft, but that's creating. So they also see the difference, like what is actually, you know, embracing your creativity, or just, you know, stealing your time in videos that perhaps will not, you know, give you any knowledge or skills. So I think many parents also understand this difference. We can't be against gaming. We have to also understand, like, some games are really, you know, supported. You can use them in the education, and some perhaps is not giving the same kind of benefits. So that's one thing. Like, many parents are in favor of Minecraft. That was good. But of course, the teachers and some of them, directors, was in the beginning a little bit skeptical, of course, since, you know, it takes time. So is this another demand that we will try to fit in the school system and the curriculum? But then we really worked with, like, no, we don't want you like extra time. We will just have it as a kind of test this. And I think also it was kind of, they could say, oh, we want to be a part of it. We didn't demand that everyone was forced in. We asked, like, we are going to do this. Are you interested? And I think that also a great way of testing things. And if it works out, you can scale it. And of course, also the teachers and the principal talk to each other. Like, are you in the Minecraft Reimagine Cities program? No, what is this? And then it also, you know, it was easier for us to scale to more schools.
I love these notions that you're talking about being able to opt in, being able to express the benefits, and that there was this understanding about how Minecraft is about creation, about active participation, rather than just, you know, sitting back and, you know, having information come at you and this learning. But surely along the way, there must have been moments where you wondered if the project might be in jeopardy, or that you came up against some obstacles. Was there a time where you kind of thought, what am I doing here? Or this, you know, I'm pushing a boulder uphill. Did you encounter such obstacles?
Not specifically on this project, because what I did is that I showed them I will be here all the time. If you need more time, I will give you, you know, the support system needed. If you need funding, we are there. And I mean, of course, Minecraft and Mojang also, you know, it was a free program for the school. They didn't have to pay anything. So there was no extra cost. But of course, I mean, if you show that we are here, if something goes wrong, if this is criticized in the media, I would take media. This is not just the launch. Some politicians actually, you know, they come at the launch and then they come at the opening. And nothing in between. And I think that is not really, I mean, if you want to have a good leadership, if you're in a business organization or in politics, I think it's very important also to be there, not micromanagement, but just to, ask questions, follow up questions, show interest. How is it going? Do you need anything? Can I help? Just that kind of also signals to the organization that this is very, prioritized from the top level. You can't do this with everything. You have to really choose every year what are your top priority in all the projects. But this was one of my priorities, and the organization knew it, and that's why they also prioritized it. And also, if you just ask, do you need anything? What can we do to help? Often they no, we have everything, but it's really good to know if something. Now then we can just continue, and I think that kind of communication within a large organization is quite central.
Yeah. So it sounds like proactive leadership, not just saying, hey, I'm going to put my name on a project, but I'm going to be uninvolved. It sounds like, as you said, this was a priority project for you. You made yourself available to your team, to the stakeholders, because you picked it. And I suppose, to that effect, to bring such a bold project off the ground, what are some of the strengths that you believe that both yourself and your team had in delivering this project that really made it a reality? And from that, maybe what are some of the lessons learned that others that have a bold idea might be able to take from your example and this project's example about how they too can bring a bold project to life?
I just feel that it's a good thing to start we test it. It's voluntary basis. So everyone that wants to be early adopters or want to be first, they can actually, no one is forced. We're trying this out. If it works, then perhaps we scale it and we do it bigger. But this is a test. And then we very clear in communication, who are we doing this for? What's the purpose? What's the kind of impact that we want to reach? And in this case, it was actually to reach other young people that's not typically engaged, and make them also more aware of the solution. So I think that was also, the teachers really was in line with that purpose, if you say. So that's another thing that I think if you want to test something very innovative, they were very clear, for who are we doing this? The same kind of classical questions. What, why, and what kind of impact and effects do we want to achieve together? And the modern way for the future is co-creation. Actually, so it's also to build a culture that we are open to new ideas, and also to work together. It was not individuals. It was actually a group of children that came up with a different solution. Now, I think that is also a very important signal.
And when you look back at this project, and I'm going to combine a couple of questions into one, but what were some of the learnings that you had? I mean, with the children, firstly, what age group were they that participated in? What was some of the feedback that they had? Did the project continue on? What was kind of almost like that kind of, put a bow on it, wrap it up? What were some of the learnings around the experience, what worked, and the future of it all?
Yeah, I think different age group. I can't really remember. I think it was third grade, and a couple of years later, older, I would say. But of course, if we had an election the same year, unfortunately we lost. Otherwise, there would be kind of if I had responsibility, this would be an ongoing project. Unfortunately, because it was an election year, so it didn't, continue. But what I saw was that other cities actually took this initiative. And so this was scaled to other cities. I think New York have the same kind of reimagined cities. And I think London, I saw the mayor there as an avatar. And I know that this is the challenge. And this way of working is now implemented in so many other cities. So that's one thing I think is really important to see, that we are doing this next year, because many is I'm not trying the first year, but next year perhaps if I see that it was successful and a good way of working. So I think you will have even more on board. But that was a shame that we couldn't continue. But now actually we have, all the solutions, the winning ones and the nominated in the end, they are online on Minecraft Education's website. So you can actually go there and see how this was created, and hopefully many other cities will actually think that this is a great idea, because if you talk about heat waves or you talk about flooding, so many cities face these problems. And if you can show kids like this is actually the areas in your city that will be affected. So what can we do on this very local level for trying to do investments so we don't face this kind of crisis? And then it's very concrete. It could be planting trees. It could be day water ponds, or it could be different kind of initiatives. But when you discuss it, then it becomes very, very concrete. Otherwise, it's about renewable energy. It's quite it's big questions. It's system. It's a systematic approach. But when you work with the children on the local level, you talk a lot about local solutions, and you need them as well to see like we can do a lot as a community or as a city or individual as well.
I mean, what I'm hearing here is that you may have started with a local focus, but the impact of this project is not just local, it is global, and it's a shift. Because you, by taking the time and effort and having the foresight to do things in a different way, it sounds like it has almost started a chain reaction where others can look back at it and go, well, Anna did this. This is pretty amazing. There's a case study that shows that it works. And even though you yourself may not have been able to take it on into that next phase because of the election cycles, but others have gone, well, here's something I can learn from and I can do something with. And beyond that, also the ideas that it sparked amongst, the children and the discussions that happened, it may have started that big, but the impact has just been explosive, which is phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal, which I think is, kudos to you and your team, because to be able to invest in something different and to be able to take that risk of finding the time, convincing stakeholders, even if the project itself only had a single life cycle, what it meant is that it's actually had a larger impact than perhaps you even realized at the time, which I think speaks so much to your local focus, but global impact, who, I think that kind of embodies your DNA, but not just global impact, multiversal impact, really. But I actually will ask you a question as we start getting towards the end of this discussion. And it's just really about the future organization. And it's amazing to hear that you're probably one of the first leaders that has been in the metaverse, and that you have engaged with gaming and, Web3 and a whole lot of different ways of being. And when you think about the future organization and the way that work is being done, what advice do you have for individuals, managers, organizations, leaders, so that they can also become future ready?
Well, that's a great question and a difficult question, Nikki. But I think, of course, we will be in metaverse and in other places and meet up, but I think the skills that will be needed is actually much more like creativity. So I truly believe in two things. I think it's upskilling, that we all have an individual responsibility to upskill. It could be take an AI course. There's many that doesn't cost anything. That's very qualitative, but you have your kind of yearly kind of education plan for yourself. So it's very easy just to go home and do sports or meet friends, but really try also, or just to work too much. So really try to take time to take different courses, because that is needed. And perhaps no one else will say to you that you have to take this course, you have to do it yourself. And then I think that we need the bubble jumping. That's something that researchers at our Stockholm School of Economics often talks about, like to try to different sectors, not to be too safe in your own comfort zone with people with your own specialty or experts that knows the same areas as you, to actually try to jump to another area that's not your comfort zone. It could be, take an art class, or, go to a lab of the future of food or something. Just try to stay curious and try to learn and understand different cultures or different areas that you don't really know so much about. And especially when it comes to creativity. I think that is very important because I think AI and a lot of tools will help us to gather and aggregate kind of data, problems, but we can actually then have more time for solutions, but also to be more proactive so the problems doesn't even evolve. And I think that's the way forward, that the data and the technique will help us to understand and get information about all the facts about the situation or metrics or problems, as I talk about the city, for example. But then we could actually spend much more time to proactively make sure that problems don't evolve. And I think that's then creativity and working together is quite an important skill, whatever you use, what kind of technique you use.
So we have creativity, upskilling, bubble jumping, getting out of your comfort zone, collaboration with others. And I hear you on this because our world's going to keep changing. And we used to have that phrase, rather than giving somebody a fish, teach them how to fish. I say, instead of putting data in a table, teach yourself how to get AI to do it for you. And what I'm really hearing, and again, very much in line with your ethos of solving these big global challenges, is that there's so much that the technology can do. We really need to be the best that we can be to solve these huge problems that we're facing on a global level. And we're not going to do that if we're kind of looking down at our feet. We have to be able to enrich ourselves and enrich our understanding of the world to be able to tackle these massive global problems. And we can do that through collaboration, upskilling, bubble jumping, and enriching our way of thinking, which I absolutely love. But to wind down, if you don't mind, I'm going to ask you a series of rapid fire questions. These just need short little answers. And it's just to get into a sense of, how you think, how you act during the week. Are you ready for that?
Yes, let's try.
Great. Are you a morning person or a night owl? When do you do your best work?
Definitely a morning person. I get quite tired at night and I'm very, have a lot of energy early in the morning.
How do you structure your day and your week?
Oh, so I love the bullet points. So I have all these kind of what to do today, what to do this week, and then I have monthly, and then quarterly goals. But I'm quite, I have my list and try to, to also do the things that are not on the list that always appear. Yeah.
So when you're stuck, do you actively seek solutions or do you give it time and space?
No, that I actively seek solution. But if it's a conflict or a misunderstanding, of course, you need to sleep on it. But when it's a problem or you're stuck with work, then it's better to just try to solve it straight away.
Yeah, decisiveness.
Yeah.
Which philosophers, theorists, or inventors inspire you?
So I will often quote Alan Turing, that was a computer scientist and also a philosopher. And he said, sometimes it's the people who no one imagined anything of, who does the things that no one can imagine. And I think that's really says something about people. Don't underestimate people and think the best of them. And I think that is really aligned with how I see other people.
1,000%, and giving people those opportunities. What technology do you use to stay efficient, and are there any AI tools that you're currently testing out?
Yes, I try. I mean, I try the latest, like a small box, the AI rabbit. but that was not my favorite. but I mean, you have to try different products, don't you? But I use ChatGPT, of course, and then I have a plan to use AI assistant much more than I do today, because my colleagues really, say it helps you so much. So that's the next thing that I will try. But, I order it, the AI rabbit from US. I think I was one of the first in Sweden. So I'm a little bit curious on how things work.
That's it. You have to keep trying things out, and you learn along the way.
Yeah.
And finally, how do you think we will work in the future, and how should we prepare?
Almost like the same thing that is needed for your organization. Just try to have an individual plan of your own upskilling. And I think it's not really important where you are. I mean, of course, if you're a nurse or a doctor, you need to be right now, at least at a hospital. But I think that it's actually, time. I mean, 8 hours working day or whatever we have, like in Europe, this will disappear. It's more about, okay, I have all this assignment. And if you do it, that's the most important thing. So all this about 5 weeks vacation, 8 weeks vacation, I think that will slowly disappear. And it's more about, working with different tasks or time frames, and then working in different teams. So I think that's the new modern way of working.
Amazing. This has been such a fantastic conversation. You've taken us around the world. You've taken us into the metaverse. You've given us a sense of how you think about the world and how you've really embraced being able to bring big projects to life that have a history of their own, have a continuation that goes beyond the project itself. Anna, if people want to find you, where can they find you on social media, website? How can people get in touch?
Please get in touch on LinkedIn, for example, where Anna König Jerlmyr, and I read the message there, and I would love to have more contacts with people around the world, discussing the future of our working life or cities, and just how we can improve our actions when it comes to climate action and so on.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining us here today and sharing your insights. It's been such a pleasure having you. If you enjoyed the episode, please feel free to share it with someone you think will love it too. I'd love you to leave a review. Your feedback helps others discover the visionaries.